Welcome back to the Nerd Corner, the corner of the internet where we like to nerd out. My name is Cooper, better known as Force. I'm joined today by Bradley, better known as Everyday Geek. And today we're going to be talking about the Supergirl movie because I finally watched it.
It was about time. It only took you a month.
Yeah, we're aware that this is very delayed, that, the whole Supergirl hype that was around that movie, the whole fact that it came out a while ago is over. And honestly, no one really cares anymore. But I just watched it, and I still think I want to talk about it. So that's exactly what we're doing. But it's not all we're going to be talking about today, so stay tuned throughout the podcast to hear some more topics. We're going to be talking about Wonder Man and Blade getting canceled. We're going to talk about Spider-Man No Way Home, or No Way Home, holy shit. Brand new day. And yeah, there's just a lot you guys are going to look forward to.
Yeah.
Let's start.
Hold on. I want to say, congratulations. That was everyone. That was Force's first time ever doing an intro for this series. That was brilliant. That was better than anything I've ever done, and I've been doing these intros for like the past year.
You're like a professional, like at doing intros at this point, and I'm just like, I'll just wing it.
Yeah, but you nailed it. First of all, you did. Well done. Well done.
It definitely got cut out, but literally right before that, I go, oh, I gotta remember the intro. What was it again? And he's like, oh, we're doing the recorder.
Oh yeah, I had to, listen. It's early days on the brand new reboot. You'll learn the motto as we go along, but we're not here to talk about your intro ability. We're here to talk about Supergirl, and I think the biggest question we need to ask about it is Supergirl a good movie? Because this has been one of the most diverse films I've ever seen when it comes to reaction to this movie. Now,
I think the reactions have been very overall split on whether this is a good movie or not. I think we can go ahead and start off by just saying our ratings for the film.
Yeah. Do you mind if I go first?
Go for it.
I want to say, when I saw this film in cinemas, I saw it like probably the day after it came out, and my initial reaction leaving the cinema was, I give it like a 7.5 out of 10. I didn't think it was bad. I still think the film is good. It's not great. It's not a masterpiece. It definitely has some flaws, some criticisms. But I didn't think it was awful either. There were still some elements that I really enjoyed. So I give it a 7.5. Fast forward then to the end of the year, where Force sees it for the first time, and I'm rewatching it now, but now in HD on streaming. And my feelings feel the exact same. It still feels like it's a 7.5. My honest to God gut feeling is it's a film that I like, but don't love. It's a film that I think is good, but not great.
Yeah.
And I really want this film to be great because we were hyped for this film from the moment the first trailer dropped. We were both really excited for it.
Yeah, I remember when we dropped our reaction to this, to just the trailer when it dropped. The only thing, I was excited by the way the movie looked. I thought it looked very solid. I liked some of the cinematography that they showed. But I remember just going absolutely buck wild ape shit just over Lobo just appearing. But my personal thoughts on the film, I have to give it just a raw 7 out of 10, because going into this film, I was like, oh, it can't be so horrible, and I knew it wasn't going to be. I just thought it was just so painfully average and kind of boring. And it's just like, it's clear that they played kind of the safe route with this one. They didn't do anything too extraordinary or anything too, unfortunately I have to say too high quality. The whole time I was thinking about this, it was just like, this feels like Guardians if it was a solo lead rather than a whole group. There were certain characters that outshined over others, so there were some points in the acting and some character writing that was just like, this is kind of just blah. I don't really care. And overall, I was just, I found myself sometimes bored, sometimes like, oh wow, the movie's almost over. Oh, it just feels like nothing's happened. And that's kind of how I felt throughout the whole movie. I actually explicitly remember when we were watching it, because we watched it with a whole bunch of people. We watched it with Jake Trax. We watched it with Pizza.
A good friend Sam.
Just a whole bunch of people, and we were just
to clear up, Pizza's the name of our friend. We didn't have pizza. People might get confused by that listening.
I might have been eating pizza. I don't remember actually.
Okay,
but but I just remember being so kind of just underwhelmed. And there's just a lot to talk about, I think, about this. Just like on the good side and on the unfortunate side.
Yeah, I will say
I don't think by any means that this is a bad movie. Yeah,
Yeah, I was
no.
literally about to say, I don't think it's a
Yeah.
bad film. I've seen people like react online saying like, this is the worst superhero movie, it's the worst comic book movie. I'm thinking, what are you talking about? Like, I get it's not
This
great, it's not a masterpiece, but I've seen people say this is bad as Morbius or Man Web. I'm like, this film isn't anywhere near as bad. It's not.
no.
It's a perfectly fine average film. Like, it's
That's exactly what it
enjoyable.
is. The movie is fine. It's nothing
Yeah,
special. It's nothing extreme. It's nothing to blow your mind or completely, just whatever it is. It's just like so painfully average. And
yeah.
that's the only like con I have to this. It's just nothing really happened. Simply
I
put,
will.
it was very
I will
boring.
say this though: when the people say like, "Oh, this is as bad as Man Web" or as bad as Morbius, or like those,
That's
no,
they're
those are
kidding
really,
themselves. They're deluding themselves with that kind
yeah,
of logic. That makes
but
no sense.
But the thing is, though, with a film like Supergirl compared to those films, I know I'm never going to go watch Morbius again. I'm never going to watch Man Web again. There's never going to be a point in my life where I'm going to be like, oh, do you know what I really fancy watching today? Man Web and Morbius. There's never going to be a point like that in my life. But I feel there will be a day where, like, I actually quite feel like watching a superhero movie. Again, it's like, it's a perfectly fine film. I will say this, I don't know if it's a controversial take. I enjoyed this film more than I did like something like Love and Thunder. Like
Oh,
Fawn.
easily.
Yeah,
Dude,
like
I still think Love and Thunder is the worst movie in the MCU.
that's what I mean. But like, I don't think this film is bad. Just because here's the thing, and I've seen people get like, there are people who are praising this film, giving it like 9 out of 10s or 10 out of 10s. There's people giving it like 1 out of 10, 0 out of 10s. And what really annoys me is when it comes to people like, if you love the film, that's great. If you hate the film, that's fine as well. But understand, good things can still be criticized, and they're still good. Bad things can still be praised, but they're still bad. You know, they can have elements
Yeah.
of good and bad. Don't think that just because we're criticizing it doesn't mean like we think it's the most awful thing ever. I still enjoyed the film. I just think it's average. You know, let's still
Yeah.
I still enjoyment out of it. So to please don't take us criticizing something being like, oh, we think it's bad. No, you know, if you remove criticisms from everything media that will ever come out can only ever be a 10 out of 10 or 0 out of 10 because.
Yeah.
What makes something a 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, whatever out of 10 is those criticisms and those points like, hey, these bits are really good, but these things are bringing it down. And what I want from anything is this to be like, hey, this is like here's a starting point. Here's where you kind of went wrong with the film. Here's how you can make it better for next time. Because I want another Supergirl movie. I do want more Millie Alcock Supergirl films.
Yeah, I think throughout like the whole film, we were like, oh, this scene would have been so much better if they had just done this. And that was kind of what helped with us correlating with the idea that it's just like a very average film. It's just like there's so much more that could be done that just wasn't, but in the end it didn't really matter because it was just kind of a whatever ending.
Yeah.
So speaking of endings, let's just like, don't you have like a pitch for what you think should have happened at the beginning and the end?
Yeah, so I've had an idea, like, because I've seen the film, and I've also reread the Woman of Tomorrow comic book, which is what this movie is based on. By the way, if you've not read the Woman of Tomorrow comic book, please, even if you don't like this film, please read the comic book. It's I'm gonna say this now, my favorite comic book, probably. That is
Wow. Wow.
Jenny, I was really invested in that comic book when I was reading it. I was like,
I
attached.
wouldn't say it's my favorite of all time, but I do think it's a really good story.
Yeah,
And that's coming from me, someone who's not really, into Supergirl like that. Like I'm someone who's going into this film like, oh, it's Supergirl, it's kind of whatever. I don't really care, but I also don't hate it. It's a really good comic. I'll be honest, it's a really good comic. But then, seeing how they adapted it into the film, it's just like,
yeah, I think that's what brought the film down for me. Was like, there's these moments in the comic book that are really good and well adapted, like brilliant. But then the film brings out, I think, probably one of my criticisms as well, if I may, before we move on to the pitch idea, if I just bring it back to the criticisms, was I want to say I don't think this film looks ugly. Like in terms of like bad CGI or anything, I think the ending is a bit weak with Supergirl flying. It's a bit noticeable. But like the moments where Kara's in space or when he goes to these planets and these things, I don't think it's bad CGI or bad look. I think it looks great, but it's just so devoid of color.
yeah,
There's nothingness. I think
which
honestly,
is such huge contrast to
the comic
Superman,
book,
which was I think just a Superman, the movie before this.
Oh yeah,
Because that film was beautiful. I think it was like one of the most colorful superhero films I've ever seen. It looked like I was looking at a comic book, stuff like that. But looking at this, I was like, okay, so I'm watching Guardians of the Galaxy without a team. Okay.
It it's like I think I don't know if they were doing this in a certain direction, like where they toned down the colors because how they wanted to make sure people know there is a difference between Superman and Supergirl, because Supergirl's a bit more of the darker, not like she's evil or anything, but she's a bit more brutal in that when it comes to something like
So,
Clark Kent.
see, here's the thing with that is that she wasn't always like that.
No,
Before she was pretty much just like female Superman. That's what, she used to be, which I can say I hated for a while. I was like, oh my God, this is just so bland. This is just like if Superman was younger, a female, and had like short attention span, like all those like morons that like to just scroll TikTok for like 4 hours straight. But it's just like, I think the change that, Woman of Tomorrow made to the character was just so fresh and so needed. And I'm glad that this is the version of the character that is sticking, because I think if I had just gotten another Superman movie, but, gender
With
swapped
Supergirl.
and, just like how the Supergirl used to be in the comics, I would have probably just, God, this is just so boring. Because we've already seen this before. But thankfully, that's not what they did. Thankfully, they did something different.
Yeah, and I mean, like, if I want to see Superman, I'd go see Superman. I don't need to see female.
I don't need to see the same movie again.
Yeah, bring something new, bring something different, and they did do that.
I'm glad that they did. I'm glad that they did.
I was going to say, with the whole thing though with colors, like even when you read the comic book, some of these panels are so bright and vibrant and beautiful and full of color. Like, let me tell you about the comic book ending and the end of the film, just to give you a comparison. In the comic book ending, they're on a beach and it's bright and it's vibrant, it's colorful. It's like, it feels like it's alive and it's like life, and it's like green and blue and yellow with the sand and the bright sky, and it's really bright and colorful. But then the film is just saturated. Like, it's just a dark desert. Like, there's nothingness.
They found, ironically, the most boring location to do this final battle on, which
it's nothing.
So I hate when films do this. It's the same thing that happened with, can't believe I'm saying this, the Flash movie, where, they could have found like a really nice creative landscape to do this, maybe like a beautiful field or something. No, they picked a desert that is completely flat, has no hills, nothing, and it's just boring.
Emptiness.
They put like it's like when you load into like if anyone has ever played the game Gmod and you load into the flat grass version of the game, like the map that's called flat grass. It's just a flat wasteland, and you just like place a bunch of shit around, and then you call it the final battle of a film. That's exactly what happened here.
I remember before I saw the film, I saw people saying this film's like Mad Max. I was like, I don't know about that. But then when you see the ending, it's like, yeah, it really does have that Mad Max style.
It does feel like Mad Maxy a little bit. And I think Jake even said it while we were watching it. He was like, oh, I didn't realize we were in Mad Max. I'm like, shit. Yeah. I just wish that they had cared a little bit more about the execution of the final battle. I think that there was some good parts of it, but I also think it was just so unbelievably boring.
Yeah. I kind of say a slightly smaller issue I have with the film, but I'm just going to throw it out there. In the Woman of Tomorrow comic book, Supergirl wears her outfit for the entire storyline. In this, she wears it in like the last 10 minutes or the final battle. And I remember we were watching the film together. I knew what was coming. You didn't. And we get to the moment where she finally puts on the suit, and you were like really excited, being like, "Oh boy, we're gonna pick up for the second half." And I was like, "It's nearly over." And you were like, "What?" You were kind of like surprised.
Okay, I'll be honest, I didn't look into the runtime of the film at all. No. I didn't see anything like that. So going into it, I was like, oh, okay, so when does the final battle happen? Like, are we getting anywhere close? And then I see the suit pull up. I'm like, oh, cool. Now we're finally in like the latter half of the film. Force, we're almost done.
Yeah.
What?
That was your reaction. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what are we talking about? How is that, like, how are we only showing the suit at the very end? Like, we saw like a hint of it in like a flashback or something, but we didn't like, it's just frustrating because it would have worked so much better if we got it like way earlier on. Like I'm cool with, seeing Kara in casual clothing, that's fine. But I think it just would have been so much more tasteful and a lot better if she was just at some point, maybe during like the, second quarter of the film, she has it on and she's just wearing it for the rest of the film. Instead of doing it in the last like fifth of the film.
I think that what they were trying to go for from like a story perspective was like she doesn't feel like she's a superhero. She doesn't feel like she's Supergirl, even though she already has been established as Supergirl for like we've seen. It's like she doesn't really feel like it. She doesn't feel like right to wear the suit. But then as the story progresses and we get to that final part, she puts on the suit. She truly becomes Supergirl, And I get that from the story perspective. I really do. I don't want people thinking I'm an idiot being like, it means this. No, I truly get it. I just think you could have done it a bit better. I think would have been a better look for the film would have been like we saw the end of Superman, or like we saw in all the posters for this film, where Kara has the suit on, but she has that brown jacket over it, and she has that at the beginning of the comic book as well. I think that's such
the foreskin jacket, yeah.
For those of you maybe unaware, need to explain that there was a Supergirl merchandise cup that came out in certain cinemas. The design didn't go over well. Let's just say that. Look up Supergirl jacket cup or whatever online in your own free time. Be careful what you might find, but. I think it would have been much better.
Literal foreskin pictures.
Yeah. But I think it would have been so much better if she had the jacket on with the Supergirl suit, because that was a great look at the end of Superman as well.
And that wasn't a lot of promo for the film as well.
Yeah,
that wasn't so much promo, and we saw it at the end of Superman. Like she pulled up, wearing the jacket and the suit underneath. That's the suit that we thought that was the outfit that we thought we were just gonna get.
Yeah, and then we didn't. I think it would have been, though, you still could have done that story bit of her coming into the Supergirl suit, but it could have been like she's wearing the jacket over it because she hides the fact she's Supergirl because she feels ashamed or she doesn't feel like proud to be it, so she keeps it hidden away. Then the final act comes in, she ditches the jacket, and then she's in the Supergirl outfit in its, like, with the red cape in its full. I think that would have been a much better look for the film. Personally, I think it would have worked better.
I agree. It's just... There's really so much that could have just been better, like just done better, because the logo is like the most important thing about the super characters like Superman and Supergirl. It's the logo for the whole film that we don't see until like a flashback, or at least until we see Superman
wearing it.
And for Supergirl, it's just I can get that she doesn't want to have that responsibility that Superman has, but she still has similar morals as him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the suit is the suit. It's a superhero film.
Like, if you go to see like a Spider-Man movie, and then Spider-Man doesn't wear a suit until like the last 5 minutes, you'd be like, well, I want to see Spider-Man in his suit, It's annoying. It very much reminds you, and we've seen this a lot with like television shows, where you'll have like 6 episodes, and it's only in the final episodes the characters actually wear the suit, We've seen that so much with the television side, but it's really annoying now this has happened in a movie side of things. By the way, if we're talking about things we didn't like, can we just say in that final battle, I even pointed this out to you during the film when we were watching it, the needle drop, the song that plays.
That was so weird, dude.
It was so... I want to say something. I want to say something very important. I do feel bad for the woman who does the cover of the song, because her Instagram crossed my feed the other day, and she seems like such a lovely woman. It's not a bad song. It's just a misplaced
good song. It's just like the placement of it and the use of it, so wrong. It just doesn't work at all.
It took me out. You know what song they should have played? And I'm really bizarre that not only the song was not played at this scene, it was not played in any of the movie, despite the fact it was used in all the promotions.
In all of the trailers.
It was Call Me by Blondie. That
would have been amazing for the final battle. But then they chose the cover of a song that just would not fit during a final battle.
No, and I'm really surprised the Blondie song wasn't even in the film. Not only because it was used as like promotional material for all the trailers and that, but like there was an official collab between Supergirl and Blondie for like some T-shirts and that. I've even seen them in my store. I think Kara is wearing a Blondie T-shirt. That's the shirt she wears in the film. But even still, it's so bizarre that the song that you've promoted this film with so much just is not featured once in the film.
Yeah, and I just I'm someone who heavily judges needle drops, and then when that song played, I was like,
it took you out.
I was just like, okay, I'm just like I'm out of it now. I'm just like I don't really care because
No.
I think the needle drop is like one of the most important parts of like a major scene. If you're gonna do a needle drop, you got to do it right, and you do. And I think a good example of that is when Deadpool and Wolverine played a fucking Madonna song for the big Deadpool war scene. I was like, this shouldn't work, but it does. And I was hoping that we'd get something like that with this fight when that song started playing. No, it just felt out of
No.
place the whole time, and it's
Which really
just
sucks
bummed.
because I think we were saying this, for the rest of the film, the soundtrack's really good and all the songs in that fit. It's just this one song at the end. It's like, I want to say this is like the 45th song I think they picked for this scene. They went through so many songs. It really made me feel like they filmed the scene, but Jenny had no idea like what song to put with it. So it was kind of like a very much a last minute decision, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, and keep in mind, I'm someone who has high praise for music. I love music with a passion. I love my playlists, things like that. And literally, sometimes whenever I'm finding songs, I'm like, oh, this would be an amazing needle drop for a film. And I have so many out there, and I know that there's so many options that can work with so many different characters. But then we get something just as noticeable and as disappointing as that one. It
Yeah.
just
It takes you out of the film. It takes you
it
out of
just
the
takes
battle.
you
Like,
out. It just bums me out a little bit.
because keep in mind, you know what it feels like? You know when we saw Superman last year and we had that moment in the middle of the film where, oh God, what's his name? Mr. Terrific with Lois Lane. He's at the base and it's like fun, fun, fun.
Oh, I love that song.
See, the thing is though, I feel like seeing that works. You can have a silly scene with that because it's like a mini fight in the middle of the film. But this was the big climax of the film. This was the big battle. You need the right song. You need the right needle drop, and it just
And
wasn't
they just kind of messed it up.
Yeah. I will say though, if you know, since we talked a bit about negative, I do want to give some praise. And we'll talk more about some of the performances later in the film, especially Millie Alcock and Jason Momoa as Lobo and Supergirl. I do want to talk more about them later. But I think
Yeah.
performances-wise, everyone delivered. I think a lot of the fault of this film is on the writing and what was
Yeah.
given. What
I
they
feel
were
like watching
given.
this film, and I want to talk about Ruthie
Yes.
because she might have been probably the most bland and boring character in the film.
And I want
Not
to say,
to the fault of the actress.
No, I was going to say the actress, I think it's like her first gig. I think she was like 13 when she was cast. And I think she does what she's given.
Really young.
I think she does a good job in what she was given. It's just what was given wasn't much.
Wasn't enough. I could tell that, you know, just watching the film, just like trying to see, you know, oh, maybe it'll pick up. She just definitely wanted to do more, but she just wasn't given enough. Ruthie is just such a bland character who, you know, completely separate from her appearance in the comic, right? Because, you know, Ruthie is a pretty good character in the comic, from what I remember.
In the comic, the stories are the same, where they both want like a revenge story, but like there's this whole journey in the comic, and you know, there's a lot of moments with her and Supergirl, and there's a moment in the comic as well where Ruthie fights off like these, like I don't know what they're called, like kind of like dinosaur monsters on this planet that isn't in the film. There are a lot of stuff with Ruthie that she gives like these speeches and that, and like some great stuff that just not in the film. And it's such a shame because again, the actress who plays Ruthie I think she's fantastic. And I think she really could have delivered if they had just given us some of these more moments, but they just didn't. You know what's really annoying?
They didn't make her such a, you know, single tone character. I think we could have had a really good character on our hands. But they literally just had her say the same thing over and over and over and over again. And you could tell that as it went on, you know, the passion wasn't there because the actress, poor girl, didn't get enough direction. Clearly, they didn't write the character well enough for her to really excel in the role. So she was kind of handed a really hard character to play because they jacked up the writing.
Yeah. I understand as well, like in the comic books, between the film and the comic books, you have to trim stuff down, cut stuff out because you can't do the entire comic book. Otherwise, the film would be 3.5 hours long. I wouldn't mind a 3.5 hour film of the actual Woman Tomorrow comic, but I understand stuff has to be trimmed down, stuff has to be cut. But you could have kept some stuff. You know what's really annoying is there was a deleted scene which came out a couple of days ago now. After obviously since the film's come out on streaming, some deleted scenes come out where we actually get more of Ruthie and her family at the beginning of the film. That's all cut out. And it's like, there's nice to see more moments of Ruthie and her family and, you know, her before she's just this revenge, the girl who's going on revenge quest. It was nice to see more of that, and it's cut out of the film. I think this film really could have benefited. This is not a short film. It's an hour and 48 minutes. Take away the credits, it's about an hour and 40 minutes. So not a short film by any standards. But given that Superman was like 2 hours to 2 hours and 10 minutes, I think this film could have really done with just an extra 10 minutes just to flesh some stuff out, just to explore some things a bit more.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly. It's just... I also kind of want to talk about just Krem.
Yeah. Well, we do have a list, and we will work our way through a list, but one more thing before we move on. If we're talking about like stuff that wasn't well written, I do want to mention something that was written.
I was just going to mention the performance and just the character of Krem.
Oh yeah,
I wasn't going to talk about his death yet.
Okay, please go ahead.
So, Krem's boring. Krem is boring, but he's also so different from what he was in the comic, and it's so frustrating because he's just gross now.
Yeah.
He's just gross. Before, he was someone that's just, you know, he was a psychopath, and that was really all that was to him.
Yeah.
He's not any less of a psychopath in this one. He's just creepy and just disturbing. And that change felt so unnecessary.
No.
And it's weird to, you know, the whole time we're just like, God, he's just so icky, he's so yucky.
Yeah.
While also being at the same time like, God, Krem is just so boring.
The thing is,
so
though,
boring.
In the comic books, Krem is kind of like a nothing character as well. You know, he's not like, you know, Lex Luthor, the Joker, where he has a ton of history. He's only ever been in this one comic book. So it's not like you got a whole lot to work on. But I think you could have just taken what was in the comics and just expanded on it a bit more, rather than completely switching out from the comic books.
Full on.
It's a shame. But if we're talking about stuff that is like good writing, kind of moment, I think for me, one of my favorite parts of the film, and I really love this, was the flashback scenes on Argo City with parents.
I do love a lot of the Krypton scenes.
They were, I think, the best film part, at least for me, the best part of the film, the flashbacks.
Yeah, I like how they, you know, kind of left it vague about why Krypton was getting destroyed. I don't think they really full on explained who was behind the destruction of Krypton. So
no,
I'm guessing Man of Tomorrow is gonna, you know, talk about how Brainiac did it. So probably, but the I just lost my train of thought. Holy shit!
Like the Argo City and all that.
Yeah, Argo.
Like,
right. I like a lot of those scenes because, you know, I like how they explain that, you know, the entirety of Krypton, you know, wasn't just, it's all gone. It's just like, it didn't just like blip away. It didn't, you know, just like go away in a day. I like how they dragged that out and made it, you know, a full story in of its own. Kara grew up during the destruction of Krypton. So
she wasn't born when Krypton was destroyed, but she was born then on Argo City, grew up there. But then we see the destruction of that through the radiation of the kryptonite, in the soil and that. So she's grown up with that planet. She's grown up, and I think she was maybe about 14 or 15 when she left. I don't know the exact time frame, what like James Gunn has said. But, like, you know, she spent 15... You keep in mind, compared to someone like Superman, Clark Kent, who was a baby raised on Earth, that's been his life. Whereas Kara grew up on that planet. 15 years, you know, this life. It's all gone. She's lost all that. And that really explains a lot of why she's, you know, suffers with depression and the alcohol and drinking, why she parties. She's not just some reckless, no-care superhero. She's a grieving woman.
Yeah.
And I think that element of the film was fantastic, and again, Millie Alcock does a fantastic job nailing that performance. Like I said, we got it bookmarked a bit later to talk about the performances of the actors and actresses, but I don't want to say like this entire thing is all negative, blah 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 blah. Yes, we've been a bit critical about these things, but there is still positives that we take, which is why the film's a bit higher than, you know, just, you know, why we don't think the film's a bad film.
Yeah, and Okay. While we're on the topic of Krypton, I like that they're also doubling down on the fact that Krypton and their people did not have good beliefs. They did not.
No.
They were still conquerors. They were still, kind of twisted. And I'm glad that they're doing that to show how unique these characters are now. Kara now and Superman are both, deviations from the original teachings of Krypton. They were supposed to be conquerors. They're not anymore. They're not. They're actually trying to do good, like proper good, which is, a decent change. I like it, actually.
Which is funny you mention that, because one of the things was the Kara's father, who is, and they say the brother of Superman's father. I think that's the relationship anyway. If I'm wrong, apologies. But they mentioned in the film, like, I will not send Kara off to be a conqueror like her cousin, because obviously that's what he was sent off for. That's what we believe. So it's really like, it's great that even on this planet, there are, like said, different people are like these different beliefs on how things should be done.
It's like politics.
Yeah.
It's exactly like how politics are.
Yeah, and I think it was, like I said, it was so wonderfully done, and like there was a bit of a backlash when they did Superman last year to the whole change of Clark's parents. There was a bit of a backlash. I'm glad they doubled down on it rather than retconning it.
Yeah,
it's
literally. I think that change is the only real controversy, other than Snyder snark. That's the only real change that was like a little bit controversial. But I found myself really liking this change because it helped separate Superman as a person from the entirety of his planet. Helped give a new idea to the S on the chest. Really make it mean hope rather than hope in a different way, in like a twisted, corrupted way. And I'm glad. I'm just so happy that James Gunn is doubling down on that. Still a good change. Can't change my mind on it. I like it. I like it a lot.
I think it was great. Obviously, earlier we did mention I did a pitch, an idea for the start, and how I would end this film. But I'll get to that in just a moment. But I want to say something about this film, not about the film itself, but the importance of a film like this. You see, obviously, look, we're two nerdy white guys. Let's face the facts. We're two nerdy white guys. So when it comes to films with male heroes and all these guys, we are spoiled for choice. Basically, just take Spider-Man alone. We've had now 9 films of like Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland. We are spoiled for choice. When it comes
Tom
to
Holland has been in, I think, 5 different movies. Maybe even more. 6 now, I think, with Brand New Day.
Yeah. But when it comes to like male heroes and male characters, we are spoiled for choice. But when it comes to female superheroes and female-centric superhero movies, there's a bit less choice. We've had, 2 Wonder Woman movies, 2 Captain Marvel movies, a Black Panther sequel. There's not really a whole lot of choice, when it comes. And I think representation does matter, especially for young girls looking up to these these characters. And keep in mind, the last time we had a Supergirl movie, I know she was in the Flash movie that came out a couple of years ago, but the last time we had a solo Supergirl movie, not a TV show, a movie, was 1984. 42 years ago.
Wow,
that was the last.
This is the first Supergirl movie in that long.
Yeah. And I'm going to say, I think it's very important. I know we've criticized the films and these are things that do better, but I am happy that films like this exist, because when you look at the Superman outfit, it's one of the most iconic outfits, superhero outfits of all time. There's no arguing that. You would say it's up there, one of the most iconic, recognizable brands. When Superman
I do. Are we talking about like new Superman outfit?
I mean,
in general.
It's just in general, the Superman outfit.
Oh yeah, full on, for sure.
Yeah, it's like the blue with the red, yellow. People see it and they think of hope and inspiration. And I think when Superman came out last year, there would have been like a lot of kids who would have saw that film and be like, I want to be good like Superman. And there would have been like a lot of young girls as well who saw the film last year who were like, I want to be good and be a hero just like Superman. Now when you got Supergirl, and even though she only wears the outfit at the end of the film, but we see her wearing that iconic outfit, saving the day, being a hero. I think it's now important that those like young girls now are going to look up to that and see, I can be a hero. And I think that's wonderful. I think that's great. I honestly, when I went to saw it in cinemas, it wasn't like a packed cinema. I only really live in like a kind of small city. There were some young girls, their mum sat behind me watching the film. And I just think, it's great now they have more female role models and more heroes that they come up to. So yes, despite
I think you nailed it on the head. I don't know much else to say about that.
despite it doesn't mean I still won't criticize films for if it there's elements that are bad.
Just quality of the film overall.
Yeah, it's not like people are like, oh, I don't want these films. I want more of these films. I think they can be great. I know they can be better than what it was, but I still think it's important that these films exist and we have them, and everyone of any gender or race can have a hero that they can look up to. And I think that Supergirl having films like this is very important, and we've had more female, like not a whole lot of female films in recent years, but I'm hoping now going forward we will have more, because I can still enjoy them as a guy. There's nothing wrong with that. I still enjoyed this, despite its flaws. I still enjoy this, but I
think it's a similar thing to what's been going on with like Yelena's inclusion in the MCU. Like she's done the exact same thing. I think she's a very, 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 very good lead to a film. Just in general, I think she's one of the most well-developed characters in Marvel as a whole. There's so much care for that character, and I think that's really fucking good. I think that's a really good thing to do in any kind of superhero media.
Yeah.
These female heroes, anything like that, they are as important as any of the male ones. They're as important as anyone in the universe. So it's very important to make people feel seen and make people, have some kind of a role model. And I really hope that this film was able to do that for so many people. I really hope so. So
when I was a kid, the Tobey Maguire films came out, the Spider-Man. That was who my role model was. That was who I looked up to. And I'm happy now with Supergirl, who's coming back in Man of Tomorrow next year. Cannot wait to see her again. And hopefully we'll get more Supergirl films. I wouldn't mind she got her own trilogy. I would be happily sit through a trilogy of these films. I'm happy now that, there's another female hero for these young girls to look up to and aspire to be. And I think that's really important.
Quick little side subject to, since we're talking about Tobey Maguire real quick. FYI, we're going to do a hot takes episode at some point. I had written down at one point before I started watching all these Tom films, I had Tom Holland is a better Peter Parker than Tobey Maguire.
Ooh, is that still on your list, or have you cut it?
No, because I watched the film. I was like, God, this is really just Iron Boy. I do not enjoy these films as much as I used to. And then I got to, No Way Home. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, now it's starting to make a lot more sense. Maybe that'll go back on the list after I watch Brand New Day tonight.
Okay. Yeah, we are working on hot takes.
I thought that'd be funny to mention. I almost said that Tom Holland was a better Peter Parker than Tobey Maguire.
It is funny. We are working on a hot takes video, but we haven't told each other what our hot takes are, because obviously it needs to work on reaction on the day. When we get down to recording it, I'm still working on my list. For you're tweaking like your final ones that you want to say. So hopefully get a good list.
I have a good 4. Yeah,
I'm trying to aim for like a good 4 on mine as well. Or very least a 3. If I can get 3 that I really feel passionate about, I'll say. Because I don't want to lie.
I got some good ones on here, dude. I almost saw it. That's why I only flashed a little bit. They're
we don't realize now.
I think they're definitely interesting ones.
What's fine now is I'm going to go for the editing. I'm going to go for this video frame by frame.
There's no way you can read it from there.
No, I won't. I'm joking. Right.
And with all due respect, Geeky, you have dyslexia. You can't even can't read it from that far in that blurry.
A blurry image, and I'm dyslexic. Fuck you.
I'm just being honest. Like there's not much you can do to that.
Oh God. Right. I did mention my pitch, and I do apologize I kept delaying it, but I really wanted to get that importance message out about the Supergirl, why we need films like this. So, I haven't got a full-on pitch for the entire film. It's just more like the starting and ending. And it's more on a take from going more following the comic books than what they did in the film. So, I'll start off with the scene where Ruthie and where her family gets killed, alright? I'll start with that scene. Now, I still have Krem shows up. Now, in this version, the Supergirl film, in my head, he is not a brigand. He's not a member of the Brigands. He is just Krem from the comics. Because in the comic books as well, he's not a brigand. He just teams up with the Brigands later on in the comics. So, but in this film, they just made him a brigand. I think just a shortcut to easy explain. Here's how I would do it. So, Krem shows up to the house, right? And he's not a brigand. He's just Krem. But he's a known dangerous guy. He's come for the weapons. Scene a bit similar. he says Ruby's father says they're in the shed. And now in the film, he says to the mother, "You will take me," because they're trying to get more of the creep factor, with him. In this version, I would say have Krem say have the father take him. Meanwhile, Ruthie is in her room. She's looking out of the window to the shed where her father keeps the weapons. She's looking out, seeing what's going on. The mother stays in the house because she knows Krem's are dangerous and she wants to protect her family and everyone inside. The father goes off to the shed with Krem. He gets the weapons. And something is said. You don't know what is said. You just seen it now from Ruthie's perspective in the house. Krem then stabs the father, like in the comic books, kills him dead. Again, this is more following the comic books a bit.
Yeah.
Stabs him dead, goes. Ruthie then tries to run out of the house, but the mother is holding her back because she doesn't want to lose her daughter after just seeing her husband be killed. She's very much protective of that. It kind of plays out then. Ruthie then wants to go on this revenge story. She wants to go on kill Krem, like she does in the comic books, like she does in the films. The rest of the family's all still alive. It's just the father that's died. But the mother's like, "No, I will not have you go. You will not leave this house. I will not lose someone else in my family who I love." Obviously, better actor than that. I'm not an actor. But I'm getting at. What would happen is then, in the middle of the night, Ruthie sneaks off, leaves the house, sneaks off now. Then it kind of starts into like a lot of the film. The other change I would make then, just a bit further on from that, is like, you have the bar scene in the film. Again, I'd keep it all the same, pretty much. But there would be a bounty, like in the comic books, there would be like a bounty hunter in the bar who kind of gets his ass kicked or whatever. And then in the comic books, the bounty hunter is a friend of Krem's or tells Krem about, the Ruthie trying to kill him, basically, or coming after him. So it plays out a bit of a similar. Kara, Ruthie goes into Kara. Sorry, it's Kara, the Supergirl. The whole scene kind of plays out. Kara's like, "I want help, blah, blah." Krem gets word that Ruthie is trying to kill her through the bounty hunter. So he goes over there to attack her. Kara steps in. The scene plays out a bit similarly. Crypto gets poisoned, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Kara gets like knocked down through like kryptonite bullets or whatever. Something I haven't flashed out fully, but something that will weaken her for the scene. It plays out, they survive, but then Krem steals the ship anyway and escapes to get away. That's how I would kind of start the film a bit better than what it was. I think it'd be a bit more of emotional impact.
So, good way to start the film is completely delete the brother out of the existence.
Oh no, you can still have the brother because the brother still would be there, but like in the comic books, the brother's nothing canon. Literally in the film, the whole Krem killing the family starts because the brother jumped out to scare Ruthie, and I think that's a bit
He literally jump scares Ruthie, and then he gets shot in the back.
Yeah, like stabbed. I just felt it was full done. I thought like this pitch version would be a bit better.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I do like that a lot more.
Okay,
I think.
Okay. The film plays out a lot of the same, and I know in the comic books there's an entire segment where we find out more about Krem and then why he teams up the brigands and this planet they go to. I would guess cut that bit from the film because again, if it's short for time, keeping it to an hour 40 minutes, give or take, you can cut the scene why he teams up the brigands and just say it's happened off camera. Just say Kara gets word or the people that Kara's taken hostage on the on the ship transporter. Then they take. Just say they got word of Krem. He's teamed up with the brigands. And if you want to keep the brigands the disgusting sex traffickers, because the brigands, again, are like a nothing villain. If you want to keep that angle for the brigands, fine. I don't think you should.
Just don't do it to Krem.
I don't think Krem should be. That's why I said I think it'd be more better if Krem is his own character that teams up with the brigands rather than just making him a brigand.
I think it's fine if Krem just doesn't care about their beliefs, but I don't think Krem should have their beliefs. He shouldn't even be a brigand in the first place, and he shouldn't look at all like that.
No.
He shouldn't look the way he did in the film.
Anyway, we're going to fast forward now to my pitch for the end of the film. Again, it's going to be completely different. It's going to be more ripped out of the comics. A bit similar, but obviously I had to make some changes. So, in the film, Ruthie gets kidnapped by the brigands, taken onto the brigand ship, and then Kara has to come save her. Right? Mm-hmm. And then obviously in that final battle, Krem is taken out so easily, he's just thrown to the side. Nothing.
Yeah.
In this version of the film, Kara and Ruthie actually catch up to Krem and capture him before the final act. So it's basically the reverse of what's happened, because this is what happens in the comics, and I think it's way better.
Yeah.
They do the scene. It could be on like the beach scene as well, like in the comic books. If you want to change it to something a bit different, that's fine. The beaches are mandatory. I'm just putting a visual picture in your head.
Just don't make it an ash planet, basically.
Yeah, no. And they can do the thing in the comic books where Krem is tied to a tree, gag in his mouth, tied up. He can't do anything. I would say just to explain something as well. Rufy doesn't know that Krem has the antidote that will save Crypto. Kara does, but Rufy doesn't. I think I need to explain that for the rest of the plot. Kara then is going to go off to the brigand ship to save the take down the brigands, save the girls, the hostages, whatever, the children. Because I think you can still keep that angle. She goes up there, to do that. But I would say before she leaves, Kara tells Rufy, "Look, you can't kill him. I need him for answers on how to save Crypto." She's by the way, Kara's lying here. By the way, she knows the answer. She's just telling that so Rufy won't kill Krem. She goes off. Rufy's left alone on the scene. Let's just say the beach tied to the tree with Krem's tied to the tree, and he's tormenting her. He's like, because Krem, like, again, he's the version of this film would be more like the comics, where he's just a psychopath killer. There's no depth to him or anything. He's just a killer. You don't need to build depth. He's just a killer. End of story.
Yeah,
doesn't matter. He's tormenting him, and Rufy finally has enough. He says, "I'm gonna kill you, but I'm not gonna kill you like the coward you are, like the same way you killed my defenseless father." So she frees him so they can do a bit of like a fight, because Rufy refuses to kill him like the coward he is, Anyway, the fight happens. Krem is finally knocked to the ground. Rufy then has the sword ready to kill him. She holds it above his head, ready to like chop his head off, but she just can't bring herself down to get that final swing. She just can't. Because the whole journey as Rufy learning to grow, like, killing is wrong. This is not how you do revenge.
Yeah.
Eventually, Supergirl comes down after taking out the brigands. Obviously, in the film, if I was pitching this to the film, there'd be a lot of back and forth cuts between the beach scene with them, Supergirl on the ship taking out people, whatever. Like the battle and the human side, if you will. Supergirl comes down, the day is saved, the children have been freed, and Kara then is the one that is going to kill Krem, because like he is part of this problem. He's been a part of these, even though he's not a brigand, he teamed up with them, he's done these horrific things. Like, and Rufy's like, well, what about Crypto? What about finding the answers? Like, Kara's like, I know how to save Crypto. I just lied to you to make sure you wouldn't kill him. But now Kara's like, I got no reason now to like keep him alive. Kara's the one that then is about to kill him. But then it's Rufy then who's learned her lesson about revenge and how revenge is wrong, and you have this guilt and this conscience on you that will live forever, basically. If you
basically the opposite of what happened in the film.
Yeah, exactly. And then what would happen then was Supergirl doesn't kill him. And then, like in the comic books, Krem is sent to the Phantom Zone. Now, in the end of the comic books, there's like a big time jump, about like 300 years or so. Rufy's an old lady. Krem has now been freed from prison after 300 years. He begs for forgiveness, but Rufy then knocks him out or whatever. I understand you can't do the big time jump at the end of this film.
Yeah, it wouldn't just make sense for the universe.
So the end of the film would be then, Kara finally teaching Rufy the lesson of revenge is wrong. Krem is just sent off to the Phantom Zone, and that's it. You don't hear about him ever again. He's just sent off. He's not 300 years, whatever. He's just sent to the Phantom Zone forever. Then Kara takes Rufy home, where she reunites her mother, and she's got her revenge, but not in a way that will haunt her conscience forever. Then you have that scene where Kara and Rufy say goodbye. Kara goes off then, whatever. Rufy returns back to her family. And then you have the scene, like, same in the film, where Kara's on Earth with Superman. That is my pitch for the ending and beginning, with some tweaks in between. That it could have been something different. That is my pitch anyway, how I would have done things. Again, it's ripped from the comics, but I think it works way better with tweaks and that for the film.
I think that could work a lot better, for sure. But if they were to continue with the way that they did it in the film, how I would have probably done it, and I guess this is us, transitioning to Krem's death, or
the death of Krem, because that's the big major thing from the film from the comics. The film is Krem lives in the comics, dies in the film. Yeah.
I'm okay with him dying in the film. I don't think it'll really change the universe all that much with his presence, being out there in the world. I don't think it really matters. But I do not think at all that Supergirl should have ended up killing Krem herself.
No. I think that's the one
we had a bit that ironically would have been so much better while we were watching the film, where we're like, oh, this is such a sweet moment. What, is Lobo gonna come in and like crush his head under his wheel or something? They honestly should have just done that. They really should have just done that. Like, oh, this is a touching scene. Oh, it's nice. The revenge. They're not gonna do it, and then Lobo just does it anyway. Like, that's
Yeah.
just it's such a Lobo thing to do, and I don't think it would have mattered all that much if it did happen. Because
Yeah.
who the fuck cares about Krem at the end of the day?
No,
So-
Krem's a nothing character, nothing in the films, nothing in the comics. It's not like, again, it's not like Lex Luthor the Joker, who's this iconic characters of
Yeah.
a lot of history. He's a nothing character.
It's okay to keep Lex Luthor alive.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how fucking deranged and crazy he is. He's a very pivotal character to the story.
Yeah.
Krem is in one comic, basically. Krem only
Yeah.
matters in Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and in this film.
Yeah, and that's
He
it.
doesn't matter elsewhere. So he is a character that, honestly, me and everyone else, we're kind of okay with him dying.
Yeah.
But I'm not okay with Supergirl killing him.
I was like very mixed in it, because like I said, the difference between Krem in the comic and Krem in the film is like, Krem is like very icky, he's a sex offender, he's awful.
He's just
in
so
the film.
fucking gross.
Yeah, so like, again, like, I don't need to find any justifiable reason to keep him alive. No, he's a piece of shit, and he does deserve death.
Yeah.
But I was just more like, on one hand, like, I felt it was wrong that Supergirl should have been the one to kill him after basically going through his entire lesson of teaching Ruthie revenge is wrong, blah 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 blah. And like I said, I think the whole thing. I know you mentioned it should have been Lobo that killed him, or a funny scene or whatever. Part of me feels like they wouldn't have done that purely because I felt it would have taken away from Supergirl's moment at the end. Just because it's a Supergirl movie, not a Lobo movie. Although we should get a Lobo movie. Just saying.
Oh, well, we should get a Lobo spinoff of some kind.
Oh yeah.
I think I said that while we were watching it.
Yeah, but I was like, I kind of also understand Kara's reason for killing Krem, because, like I said, we're not doing the whole big time jump. We're not doing the big 100 years, whatever. Where
They just can't pull that off.
No, they can't pull it off. That's why I thought my version of the film was better. He just sent the Phantom Zone for eternity to rot or whatever. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
He's a nothing character.
I think Krem's fate could have been a cool way to introduce the Phantom Zone just as a concept. I think it could have worked out like that, but I can see why they feel like it's just not important, I guess. But even though I was like, if we're going to introduce characters like Brainiac or like Zod or Doomsday, the Phantom Zone could be a very important aspect to that. Because if you don't want him just to flat out kill these characters, or if he just physically can't, and trapping them in the Phantom Zone could be really cool. I think, Krem's fate could have led to that, and it could have been, a very good introduction and could have made it very important for the universe, which, could have made, the existence of this film actually full on matter in a crazy huge way. But they didn't. They didn't.
No.
And Krem's fate was just such a huge missed opportunity. It just was.
I will say, I actually kind of somewhat understand Supergirl, though, killing Krem. Because, again, we're not doing the whole 300-year time jump, or we're not have the Phantom Zone. And in that moment, Supergirl has to realize she's done her job protecting Ruthie, protecting her consciousness, protecting her innocence from killing. She's done that bit, and Ruthie doesn't kill her, so she can still, have this innocence about her. Whereas I understand Supergirl killing him because, again, Krem is such a vile, disgusting character. He's done these horrific things to these poor girls in this film. And, and even in this final moment, like, he's like, you think you saved her, whatever. I can't remember the exact line, but, he
does this
Kara.
whole monologue.
Yeah. I think then Kara has to realize, look, if I don't kill him now, basically, because Kara's not going to be on this planet forever. She's not going to be around to protect Ruthie forever, all these girls forever. And she doesn't want to leave this sick, twisted individual still free. So I guess I do understand Kara killing him. I'm looking at that, I'm just ignoring the comics for a second, I'm just looking at it from the film aspect of it. I understand. There's an
I can understand their choice to do it, but I think there was just a better way just to kill him. I think it still, at the end of the day, it would have been better if just Lobo had done it. Yeah. They're like, oh, we don't want to give Lobo the spotlight. Fine. But, I still don't think, out of anyone who should have killed him, I still don't think it should have been Kara.
But I do have an understanding.
I understand, yeah.
That's like, it could have been better, but we understand. That's honestly, that's only how this entire film feels. Like, we understand, but it could have been better. That's how this entire film feels at times.
Yeah, that's actually a really good way just to sum up our thoughts on the film. It's just, we understand, could have been better. Let's move on to just the characters, just the performances.
The performances, exactly. We've been a bit negative, not necessarily negative, but we were like, this could be bad, this could be. But let's talk about like the fact that like I said, the actors and actresses, they deliver on what they are given, and it's brilliant. Especially Millie Alcock as Supergirl and Jason Momoa as Lobo. I want to mention Millie Alcock because I've seen some people like criticize her. I think she is perfect as Supergirl.
She's amazing as Supergirl in this. I was able to see that casting work out immediately when I heard that she was casted. I was like, oh, this can work.
Yeah,
this is a good call.
It does work. It does work.
And
it's
it does.
Brilliant.
She did an amazing job.
I think because for the story of this film, you see a lot of sides of Kara. You see like the non-care party girl. You see the woman carrying the guilt of and the trauma of life growing up, losing her planet, losing people love. We have then at the end of the film like her heroicness and a symbol of hope in her own way. There are a lot of angles to Kara in this film, and Millie Alcock nails every single one of them.
Full on, yeah.
I think
I think she was also a really good choice for it. I've seen her roles in other pieces of media, like I've seen clips of her in House of the Dragon. I don't know any of the other movie titles, but I've seen her performances in other films and stuff. She can be a very diverse actress.
Yeah.
And I think that was a very good call for the film because you could tell that she was also pretty experienced. Yeah. She knew that this character needed depth, and she nailed that depth pretty well.
I think what a perfect highlight of this is the scene after she's told Ruthie about her life on Krypton and they're losing her loved ones. And first of all, the flashback scene, she's an amazing actress in that scene. That she delivers such a great performance while also speaking a fictionalized language.
Yeah,
it's incredible. And I forgot the other actor's name. I know him because he was actually in the Santa Claus movies when I was a kid. But he's a good ass actor as well. I do apologize, I don't know his name. But the one who plays Kara's father in the film. And like him and Kara having that moment before she's sent off.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like, he was very fantastic. Very, very good.
But then when like Kara's performance and all that, but then we cut flash forward then to just after Kara's told the story. You can see the genuine pain in her eyes. Like it's not just like acting ability; it's like facial performance abilities. And Millie Alcock delivers on that. You felt her pain. You can see it.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
I think in all of her scenes that she does with Krypto, I think they're always very touching because you can tell that she fucking cares about that dog. She loves that little thing, even though he's definitely not the best dog in the world.
No,
but that's exactly what she loves about him. And you can tell that when he got hurt, when he got poisoned, she was devastated. You can tell that is her drive. And I think it was just performed spectacularly. I think I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed.
You got to keep in mind as well, Krypto is a CGI dog, so she would have been performing to like a tennis ball or something. Or
probably,
however,
or maybe a real dog that was, motion captured.
Yeah, like stand-in. But like for that scene, like you can tell Krypto's a bit, CGI, not
But yeah,
but she's still delivering a brilliant performance. So you thing is, though,
and she's badass as well. She's a badass.
Oh yeah. Here's the thing: you gotta buy into a character. If you don't buy into a character's performance or a character as a whole with their performance, it does takes you out of the film. Yeah. From start to finish, regardless of criticism, regardless of how I feel, Millie Alcock, I don't have a bad thing to say about her or her performance. She kept the film, for me especially, intrigued. Her performances, her. Like I said, the party girl aspect, the superhero aspect, the traumatized woman aspect.
She's a very believable drunk.
Yeah. Honestly, I thought she had just been drinking on set.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen her.
Is it the
remember
Golden
when she
Globe?
went on stage at the Golden Globe?
Yeah, I was going to say that scene, and she's just giddy in the background because she's drunk.
That shit is so funny. And I remember watching her talk about that moment in like an interview. And she was just like, they're like, what the hell was so funny? I don't know. And I'm like, that's being drunk. That's just being drunk.
I'm so glad that we have her Supergirl and we're going to get more of her. I can't really picture. I'm not one for like fan cast or anything, but I really just can't picture anyone else stepping into the role and delivering the performance like she did in this film.
She did a spectacular job. Genuinely.
Yeah. I also want to mention again, we mentioned it earlier in the film, but Eva Redley or that plays Ruthie? I think that's the actress's name.
I don't know.
I think it's either Ridley or something like that. I could be wrong. I do apologize. But regardless of how we felt about the way the character was written, she still delivered a great performance with...
She delivered well with what she was given. And we've already
Yeah.
said that. We've already said that.
But I did want to mention, if we're talking actress performances, I do want to give credit where credit is due.
Yeah. I will say, I do think my favorite part of this film was Lobo. And
you're a big Lobo fan, though.
Well, I'm also just a fucking humongous Lobo fan. So that, I mean, if y'all saw a reaction to this whole trailer for the whole film and Lobo first appeared, you saw me jump out of my chair. You saw me do a lap around my room. I was so excited. And I'm honestly, I'm not too disappointed with the character. Only thing I was a little bummed out about was the fact that he didn't say the main man one single time. That kind of irked me a little bit, but everything else about the character nailed it. And you could tell Jason Momoa was a fan of the character because he's been asking to do it since he was Aquaman. So I'm glad he got the role that he got. I'm so glad that he was Lobo, and he nailed it.
I don't want you taking this the wrong way or anything, but it really felt like they were using this film, especially the scenes with Lobo, as kind of like a test to see how audiences feel about Jason Momoa as Lobo in some of his scenes. I gotta say, everything I've said, every positive thing I've seen about this film online has been Jason Momoa as Lobo. I think there's definitely enough interest for at least a Lobo movie or a Lobo TV series with Jason Momoa. And honestly, Jason Momoa just seems like a fun guy to be around. Like, I feel like no matter what film he's doing, whether it's like he was in the Minecraft movie, or he's in like Fast 10, or he's in...
He's such like a random actor, and when he's given these roles, it's like, oh, is he going to play a major goofball like in Minecraft? Or is he going to play a badass super anti-hero like Lobo? Or is he going to play a downright sadistic evil villain? Like
in Fast 10.
Like in Fast. I gotta give credit where credit's due. He's definitely one of the top of the call list, and he does a good job.
I hope we get Lobo somewhere, a Lobo series. I saw somewhere online, I don't know who said it, where it was pitched, but there should be like we've had always like these Disney Plus series and all that, and obviously there's all the DC side with HBO. There's obviously Lobo's a bounty hunter. I know that. And even in this film, his job is trying to get this one bounty. He's just trying to get this one guy, and like whatever. There should be a TV series, maybe like a 6-episode series where every episode you introduce like some really minor villain that's not of any importance, and Lobo's after them for each episode, like the bounty.
Yeah, like I think that's the pitch that I made. I was like, oh, he goes around.
Was it you that said it?
I think I said it. I was like, oh, imagine how cool it'd be if we just saw a bunch of like, either unknown or well-known characters in the DC universe be introduced to this Lobo show where he's hunting them down, maybe killing them, maybe not, just for fun, just cause.
Just a silly series.
I
major.
would be so much more excited for that than I could ever be about the Jimmy Olsen show that they announced. Genuinely.
Hey,
that's what they should have done.
Do not speak ill of my goat, Jimmy Olsen.
I'm not saying Jimmy Olsen's not the goat. I'm not saying he's not. It's just
Did you see all the ladies he got?
I don't give a fucking shit. I don't care. Genuinely, I don't. Like he should just. I don't think he needs a solo project. He doesn't.
He doesn't. I wouldn't.
Jimmy Olsen never did.
I wouldn't mind a Jimmy Olsen TV series. I just think there are other characters that should be more prioritized than Jimmy Olsen.
Yes.
Lobo is one of them.
Lobo is one of them. Lobo is the spin-off character that you should do. And we
absolutely. If there's not, obviously, we're kind of in like the first phase or whatever it's called right now. If we don't get a Lobo announced for like the second phase of the DCU, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing?
It's just there's so much I have to say about just the layout of the DC universe right now, but that's a topic for another time.
That's another video. They wrapped up this then, talking to us about Supergirl. Obviously, when it comes to these superhero movies, the one thing we've become so accustomed to, something we all expect, is either mid or post-credit scenes. That's something we expect with all superhero films now. It's like the norm. Supergirl, none. No mid-credit scene. No post-credit scene. Nothing. Thing is, though,
No fun little shot that they did, like in
no.
Superman, where it was like him and Krypto on the moon looking at Earth. That was a fun shot. We didn't even get that.
No, we
They
got
didn't.
nothing.
They got
I'm gonna
absolutely nothing.
say, see, here's the thing. When we had Superman last year, we had the two post-credit scenes. Sorry, the mid-credit scene, the post-credit scene. They were fun little scenes. They were nothing. There was no big setup. There was no like teasing the next big bad. They were just fun little scenes. A little treat, a little extra for the film. And I remember saying that, you know what, I'm kind of glad that they're doing this with this direction. Because we've seen this so many times like in Marvel where like everything has a post-credit scene and some of them have just gone to absolutely nowhere. Complete waste.
Yeah.
Gone nowhere. And I'm like, listen, as much as I like teasing that for what's coming, don't make a post-credit scene about something unless you guarantee it's going to happen. Don't do that.
Which is why I liked what they did with the Superman post and mid-credit scene. They didn't use it for anything other than a little gag or a little fun, beautiful looking shot.
Yeah.
Rather than making a promise for something that's going to happen later on, but might not actually happen later on that we don't know how to follow
exactly.
up. Or a scene that, gets teased that we won't see until like 10 years later. Like we're seeing Scorpion in Brand New Day.
Yeah.
And we first teased them in Homecoming in 2017.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a little overdue. It's a little overdue. Hype, yes. Overdue, absolutely.
Absolutely. So it's like, when I was seeing this, like, with the fact there was no post-credit scene, it was like, it was actually a breath of fresh air. There was no big major teaser. But I'm going to say this now, and I think some of the people point this out as well. That final scene where Kara arrives at the apartment, talking to Clark, saying now she's going to stay on Earth. I think that scene could have been like a mid-credit scene or a post-credit scene, because that film does act as a teaser, because it's teasing that Supergirl is going to be on Earth now for Man of Tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I think the film should have ended with Ruthie and Kara going off on the ship, the Supergirl title comes up, the credits roll, and then the mid-credit scene is that scene.
Yeah.
I think that would have worked a bit better as like because that scene is effectively a tease, being like, hey, I'm staying on Earth. And again, I'm not saying it has to be a mandatory that these films have mid and post credit scenes. Again, I think it's actually a breath of fresh air.
It's not at all required, but I don't think like, they should just break the tradition that all superhero films have.
Yeah.
And that's a mid and post credit scene, and they're always, kind of fun to watch regardless of if they lead to anything or not.
No.
Do the fun gag, do a fun shot, do whatever, just do something.
It would have been. I think that scene with the Kara, Supergirl with Superman in the apartment. I think that should have been like the mid-credit scene or post-credit scene, because it does act as a tease for Man of Tomorrow. I also would have really liked. Again, I'm asking for not a lot, but obviously you mentioned in Superman the mid-credit scene is that beautiful shot, and it's still in my head to this day of Superman on the moon with Krypto looking out to the Earth. It would have been beautiful so great, beautiful. I wish they'd done something similar to that where. They did a similar shot, but it's Kara. She's on a deck. Early in the film, there's a quick moment where Kara's on a deck, drinking, and she pours her drink down, and Krypto runs and knocks the thing over. It would have been, it would have been great if there was like a scene like that where again, it's like the back shot, like we saw with Superman, where it's like he's looking out. No, do not take me out of context. Do not take me out of context, young man.
Hello, Clips channel.
But, like a scene where, again, it's like the silhouette, you see the back of Kara, and she's, like, drinking, where she goes to put her thing down, and then Krypto runs and knocks the thing over, and then it cuts to black, and you just see a Kara going, Krypto? A fun little gag like that. Nothing major, it's a little tease, like, not a little tease, but like a little, like a thing of, like...
Just like a fun little gag.
Yeah. That is... I liked it. But again, I'm also happy that, if there's nothing major needs to be teased, don't tease it. Don't force a post-credit scene, if I will. But that does conclude us talking about Supergirl, but that does not conclude the end of this episode on the podcast.
Yeah. We're going to go ahead and use the rest of this episode to talk about just some other things, primarily relating to Marvel, but we're also going to be talking about Booster Gold at some point.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about Spider-Man later on.
Yeah, it's been a bad week for some comic book news, and there was
one that... I wouldn't say it's been an entirely bad week, because we did have... a lot of disappointment, but we also got some really good stuff out of Comic-Con. So, overall,
Comic-Con was last week. I mean, specifically this week that we're on.
Last week we talked about Comic-Con, blah, blah, blah. We're going to talk about the rest of what came out that week. aka the cancellation of Wonder Man and Blade.
I am so
pissed. I'm pissed.
Oh my god!
I'm
When
pissed.
I saw that Wonder Man season 2 was cancelled, I immediately DM'd you. I was like, "What the fuck,
dude?"
Because we loved Wonder Man.
I was at work. I finally got a little bit of a break. I was able to sit down. First thing I did was open Twitter. Never do that. Never do that ever. I pull up discussing film. When I saw that tweet, oh, I was fuming. I text Geeky. Literally, I go, fuck, no, shit, fuck.
Yeah, because I sent you the screenshot, and you're probably going, is this real? And then you went to Twitter. It was real.
No.
Oh, you saw it first before I did.
I saw it before I saw yours. Because at my job, internet is terrible, so I don't get a lot of Discord stuff. So I just sent that, like, I sent the photo. I'm like, fuck, no. Like I sent my whole spiel.
And then right above it was just my screenshot was saying, "Better say psych right now," because it was not funny.
Okay, real quick before we get into Wonder Man and talk about why I'm so frustrated on it. I just want to say I saw Blade being canceled coming from a mile away.
Oh yeah, I think we all saw Blade canceled.
It wasn't getting off the ground anytime soon.
No, I thought it'd been canceled for a long time now. What's the actor's name? I'm so bad remembering people's names.
Mahershala Ali.
Thank you, but he has spoken out about it recently, which is why I mentioned it in like the Blade officially being.
The reason why it was canceled is because he backed out.
No, he didn't back out. They were saying like, look, I wanted to make the film. Marvel had the funds to do it. If we were going to make this film, we would have made it by now, rather than keep me on contract for 7 years.
He said he got tired of waiting, so he backed out of the contract.
I don't blame him getting tired. It's been 7 years
I
since it was
blame
announced.
Him either. Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
All right, Mr.
They should never, ever have announced a Blade film when you announce that the new saga is the multiverse saga. Blade's great. Blade's an amazing character. What the fuck is he gonna do in the multiverse? What the fuck is he supposed to do? What? How is he supposed to work around, multiverse of characters like Thor or Doctor Strange or like Shang-Chi, stuff like that? Like those characters, they kind of make sense, especially with the setup that we got in Shang-Chi, where the rings were gonna lead into Doomsday, blah blah blah, whatever, yada yada yada. Blade is a character that excels in the supernatural side of Marvel. The supernatural side. That's where he lies. That's where he should be. That's where he excels. That is him. That is his character. He should be working with characters like Moon Knight. And he should be working with Doctor Strange in a different regard. Not the multiverse. He should be fighting vampires. He should work with Werewolf by Night. He should be doing so much more. Just not with the multiverse. Get Mahershala Ali on. Yes, love that. Beautiful casting. He can do an amazing job as Blade. Why the fuck would you announce him as Blade or the film during the multiverse saga?
This announcement, we just had obviously San Diego Comic-Con last week at the time of us recording this. They announced the Ghost Rider film there. This would have been a time to announce a Blade project.
This would have been the time to announce Blade. That's perfect. It's perfect timing. What are we doing? Oh, God, dude.
I am frustrated because
it makes my blood boil just thinking about how horribly executed this film was.
The film didn't even happen. It didn't even happen. That's the thing.
Yes, that's the thing. It's just, it was doomed from the get-go. And I remember literally being like, oh, cool, Blade. In the multiverse? It's like what the
like I said, we want the Blade project, and we have a fantastic actor who could have done a fantastic Blade.
And they tried. They had a good setup as well, with Blade meeting Black Knight and Eternals. That would have been an amazing setup. And now both of those projects are doomed.
And now this is why I mentioned. This is why I mentioned earlier about post-credit scenes that lead to nowhere. Oh, it's frustrating. Like now, obviously, I think a Midnight Suns. They could have done we got Ghost Rider in the MCU. Well, we're getting Ghost Rider in the MCU. Sorry, later on in 20. We got Moon Knight already. I would hope for him to come back. He's
probably going to come back after Secret Wars because we're probably getting the supernatural side finally, which would have been the perfect time to bring Blade in.
And the thing is now, even if we do get a Blade project, I don't know if he would want to come back after being wasted for 7 years. Yeah, I think you'd have to look elsewhere now.
I don't blame Mahershala Ali for being so frustrated and leaving the project. I don't.
No,
It is not his fault by
absolutely
any
not.
means. Not at
He would
all.
have made.
I actually support Mahershala Ali's decision to leave. I would have done the same thing.
And speaking out as well.
And speaking out.
Oh, sorry. It's just sorry to be like all negative, angry at the aid, but like the whole thing's it's been like really. It's
They canceled 2 projects that were so good and so possible to be so good, and then they just fucking killed them.
What pissed me off? Here's the thing. With the Wonder Man situation, what really pissed me off is we saw season 1. We fucking loved it. We thought it was great.
Oh, we thought I thought it was one of the best shows that they ever put out.
It was fantastic. The humor, the heart, the story. It was chef's kiss from start to finish. So when earlier in the year, not even like what was it, like March,
like
April?
Right after the show came out, they announced that they were going to renew it for season 2.
And then we got news, and I remember the day they said, "Hey, season 2 is happening. It's being renewed." I was like, "Oh my god, look what's happening! Season 2, yes, let's go." So the fact, I can't figure out what the hell has happened in these short few months between that announcement, because it was only like March, April when it was announced, and we're only in August. So what's happening in these few months that's warranted being renewal to straight up cancellation?
Yeah,
because even the director who's directing Spider-Man: Brand New Day, by the way,
Dustin Daniel Cretton.
Yeah, he has said that like the only thing he doesn't know is the why, and
even the showrunner made a TikTok post about it. Like, we don't exactly know what happened. We're very bummed out by it. Blah blah blah. There's a lot of people speaking out on Marvel's decisions right now.
I think they should be speaking out on these decisions,
and they should.
I think they should.
And I'll be honest, there's the whole argument online right now that it's a race thing. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not putting it past them.
No,
I'm not. I'm not. It makes too much sense. Sidelighting Sam Wilson, bringing back Steve Rogers, making him, much less of a character. Not building him up as well as they did with other characters.
There is
it's so
there's a worrying trend of it, and it's wondering like. I don't know necessarily if in Marvel themselves like racist, but obviously I'm worried that they're pandering to the wrong audience.
There could be some execs in either Marvel or DC or in Disney that are just refusing to. I died. Well, I'm so angry.
We don't know for sure. We can only speculate, but there's a worrying pattern here of like these black characters are constantly having armor wars. Not happened to Rhodey. What the fuck happened to that? There was meant to be promises. There was meant to be a Wakanda show with is it Eyes
of Wakanda?
Yeah.
They shadow dropped that. No, they dropped it.
I didn't even know that was out. Oh, no, there was another show.
That's the problem. They shadow dropped it. They made one trailer and then they did zero promo with it. Yeah. Zero.
And look, I know we're not the biggest fans of Ironheart, but as a friend pointed out to me, even Ironheart didn't really get that much promotional material compared to something like
the
Daredevil.
And don't get me wrong, it's such a blessed show. Like, me and Geeky, I think, are lower than a lot of other people on it. It still doesn't. That doesn't mean it doesn't deserve any promo. Fucking She-Hulk got more promo than half of the projects we're talking about.
And now Blade has been developed. The Blade is being in development hell. Wonder Man's being cancelled. Like, I don't know if it's something inside. There's some like kind of like racial thing inside of Disney, or if they're trying to pander to the wrong audience. Because there's always people crying out, but like woke. And here's the thing: one of my running jokes I have in the Discord server that we're in is like, I'm always joking like, woke. Because I love taking the piss out of people who genuinely use woke.
Fun of it.
Yeah, we love taking the piss out of these fucking idiots. But like, it's all this bullshit. Like, I'm worried Marvel are pandering to like these people because they're worried about box office success and all that. I'm like, fuck these people. No matter how good of a film you put out,
be the change you want to see. Be the change you want to see. That's what I want to see. I want to see diversity done well. I want to see characters actually excel in the fields that they deserve to be in. They should be. They should be given light. They should have been, brought out into the spotlight like they deserve to be. Black Panther was one of their best performing films in the MCU. That's just proof. It's proof that this works. It's proof that it's a good thing. Why the fuck are we not learning? God, it's so fucking frustrating.
Because good projects are being cancelled. Wonder Man was one of the best shows. It was the best. Fuck it, I'll say it. I think this was actually going to be one of my hot takes because I didn't know how you'd feel about it, but I'll just say it now because I'll move on to hot takes. I said Wonder Man is the best MCU show. Hands down. Nothing.
I still think Daredevil's better, but you're not far off. You're not far off by any means.
Listen, I think it is better than Daredevil just because I think how much season 1 let me down. But Wonder Man was fucking incredible. It deserves a season 2. Everyone on that shit deserves better. Think about, look at what Wonder Man did. Not just for Wonder Man, but for the character of Trevor, who was like a nothing when the MCU started. They hated him when he was the Iron Mandarin. That was like one of the worst twists in the MCU. And now thanks to like Wonder Man, he's become one of the most beloved side characters.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense. It makes zero unbelievable goddamn sense on why they did this.
No, I am pissed. Here's the thing. If they knew that, if they had never like announced a season 2, I wouldn't be this angry. I'd just be like, look, Wonder Man was great as it is. But the fact that they announced
it could be great on its own, standalone. If it didn't get a season 2 and they followed it up on something later on, great, awesome. But that's fine. Don't promise us a season 2. Don't say you're working on it. Don't say you're getting scripts done. Don't say stuff like that, and then just throw it into a vat of acid and watch it die a very slow, painful death. There's no fucking reason why this should be happening. Zero.
If they just said, look, we're just putting Wonder Man on hiatus because like the director's busy doing other projects. He's just done Spider-Man. I think he's doing some other Marvel projects as well. If they said
Spider-Man, he's done he did Wonder Man. He did what else did he do? I know he did more. He did The Punisher. He's been very worked. And I think he's still having a good time.
Yeah, and I think he's obviously a very busy man. So if they said, look, the director's working on another project right now, we're just going to put Wonder Man on hiatus until he's free, then we'll go straight on to Wonder Man. But the fact that you that would have been fine. I'd been like, okay, great, don't rush Wonder Man. Season 1 was fantastic. Let's make season 2 even better. If you could even do that, because season 1 was so fucking great. But you've cancelled it. You've fucking cancelled it after like 3 months of fucking announcing it. And I'm pissed off. Oh, God. And I'm sorry for the listeners. I know we're both angry.
You see what you did, Marvel? You see what you did?
For the audio listeners there who's listening on Spotify, Cooper here just chucked a load of Pokemon cards on the floor in anger, slammed his mic, and has walked off set. We're passionate. We're fucking passionate about this shit, Marvel.
I am so pissed.
Wonder Man, you deserve better.
Full on. Wonder Man and deserve better.
My only hope that I'm holding on to now is a Wonder Man appears somewhere else. He should be getting his own fucking series. We better
get the West Coast Avengers. We better.
Oh, absolutely. Fucking Wonder Man's a great character. Deserved much better. And there was something else that we thought was cancelled. It wasn't cancelled. It's just moving forward with a new creative team. The Booster Gold series.
They just did a whole scrap on the initial idea for Booster Gold, and now they're coming back with a new one. There's not much else to say about that. It's just like we were kind of faked out. We were like, oh, they're canceling a show that could have been an actual pivotal character, but we're keeping Jimmy Olsen. Fuck you.
Don't speak about my goat that way.
I don't give a fuck. I don't care. But yeah, Booster Gold, I'm excited to see. I hope to God we see Shane Top from Smosh be Booster Gold. That is some beautiful casting. I still think that that's one of the only fan casts I would actually like to see. But I'm sorry. I'm still caught up on Wonder Man and Blade. I'm sorry. I'd like to talk about Booster Gold right now, but
It was kind of funny. It was such awful timing because as the Wonder Man news came out, it initially seemed like the Booster Gold had also been cancelled. So like I said, we were just having a shitty fucking week.
Because I like Booster Gold. I like Booster Gold. But then like, oh no, we're just moving forward with a different team. I'm like,
so there's still hope. There's still hope, at least, with Booster Gold.
Which is so frustrating because I spent those days just like so frustrated about Wonder Man and Blade that I was like, oh great, and Booster Gold. I don't care. Fuck! Wonder Man! Blade! Fuck!
Oh, sorry. I am now literally sweating because I've been
my hand hurts. I just punched the fucking shit out of my mic. I just punched my mic so hard. Do I have any? Oh, ooh. Ooh.
For those of you who are listening on Spotify, he's got a broken hand right now. It's just blood and bones.
No.
There was one last thing though.
Anyways.
You want to wrap this up on a more positive good thing.
In a
At
more
the time
positive
of
note,
us, yeah, at the time of us recording this episode, Cooper is seeing Spider-Man Brand New Day tonight. I'll hopefully be seeing it tomorrow at the time of us recording this, but hopefully by the time
I'm
this
seeing
episode
it
is
in exactly 3 hours.
so hopefully by the time this
So-
episode is out, we would have seen the movie, and obviously keep an eye on the channel, follow us on Spotify, and subscribe to the channel because we will obviously, be doing a discussion about this film, obviously, because I think there's going to be a lot to talk about with this film.
Yeah,
But we'll
and
use this opportunity to
I
talk
just
about.
wrapped up an entire rewatch of the entirety of Tom Holland Spider-Man's journey in the MCU. I started watching Homecoming about 2 days ago. I watched Homecoming and then I watched Infinity War. By the way, when you're I want to point out when you're watching Tom Holland's journey in the MCU, you're starting with a beautiful movie like Civil War, and then you're going into a very underwhelming movie like Homecoming, and then you're going right to fucking Infinity War.
Infinity War.
You're going right to Infinity War, and then
And
to Endgame, and then you watch the absolute shit ass movie that is Far From Home. But then you're watching No Way Home, so it's just a whole roller coaster of emotions.
It's
and
a lot of up and downs.
yeah, and I will say there are some things that are very pivotal to me, and my thoughts going into this film are mostly positive, almost entirely positive, actually. I'm glad that we're ditching all of the Iron Boy stuff where he's kind of just supposed to be Iron Man. I'm glad we're not doing that anymore. I was already fed up with it on like my fourth movie that I've seen of him. I'm like, I'm just so tired of seeing this. I'm just glad it's not happening. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I will say going into going through all the rewatches and stuff, the film that stood out to me was his presence in I just want to say his performance in Endgame was really good, but also just how unbelievably bad Far From Home is. And that's probably kind of a hot take. I really don't like that movie. I really don't. And I'm not saying it's like one of the worst in the saga. I
guess it's
actually
similar to,
it
like, a
might be there,
Supergirl.
but I don't think it's the worst. I definitely don't. I think
think
it
it's
does some great
definitely-
things in it. I love Mysterio, but I hate the fact that he's tied to Tony Stark. I like
Yeah, I
Nick
hated
Fury's
that.
inclusion, but I hate how kind of insufferable he is in the film. Then again, it's also Talon, not actually Nick Fury. I like Ned. I like his
His relationship with Betty Brant.
well, that's just funny. That's just funny.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Because it's literally only a one-off. It's literally only a one-off.
He is the CEO of sex, after all.
Dude, literally every time I saw him and Betty interacting, I was literally in my room, CEO, 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 the whole time. And I think my favorite part of the film was just the manipulation and how cool Mysterio was. But a second aspect of it was the suit and Peter's relationship with MJ being built up. I like it. It does feel a little, out of left field. He had just gone over Liz from
And then suddenly he's like
Homecoming.
really in life. Really in
And
love with
I will
MJ
say
in
they
this.
did kind of set up that MJ did kind of like Peter a little bit.
Yeah, they set that up, but they didn't set up.
They set that up in
like,
Homecoming, but it still feels out of left field that Peter likes MJ as much as he does.
Yeah.
Because he kind of didn't even really give her a second thought in Homecoming, let alone in Infinity War and Endgame. Like, she's not even in them. So having her be the opening scene where it's like, here's the plan for MJ. When we go on this trip, I'm going to take her to the top of the Eiffel Tower. I'm going to give her a necklace. I'm going to give her a kiss, blah, blah, blah. It just feels random and it feels out of left field.
especially
Peter's
since part.
Huh?
But from Peter's perspective, it's like for MJ it makes
It
sense because it was
just feels
teased.
like random. It feels kind of put in.
Like,
But
it
I
was
would
teased
say,
with MJ
as the
and-
film went on, I definitely found myself growing a little bit more attached to MJ. I was like, oh, she's actually a pretty nice character. I definitely don't think she's at the same as like Gwen Stacy in the TASM series. I still think she's like the best love interest we've ever had. I think there's some downs and there's some ups, but I definitely do think that overall it's one of the best parts of Far From Home was how they built it up and how they, fucking slam dunked it in No Way Home. I'm overall finding myself so unbelievably excited. And I think it's a really good way to go into Brand New Day is by, refreshing your mind on how this character has been throughout the universe. He's seen so many highs, he's seen so many lows, he's gone even lower, just like Spider-Man does. And realizing that, he is still absolutely grieving about May. Super hard. He's grieving about everyone because they're not in his life anymore. And seeing his interaction with Happy right by May's gravestone at the end of the film, just amazing. Just amazing. And it's got me like, oh, this is going to be a fresh take on Peter Parker. And this is actually going to be Peter Parker.
For me, what I'm really looking forward to is like my favorite Spider-Man film of all the Spider-Man films, but specifically live actions, because if we're including the animated movies, the Into the Spider-Verse is like chef's kiss, but specifically live actions focusing on Peter Parker. My favorite Spider-Man film of all of them is Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 2. It's still one of my favorite Spider-Man films. It really does a good job of, seeing Spider-Man, the glory of being Spider-Man, but also then how much it affects Peter's life and how much his life sucks. Because that's the beauty of Spider-Man is Spider-Man's just this beloved character who saves the day. The city loves him. He's a hero. And then Peter Parker's like a nobody. His life sucks. And how inconvenienced his life is because of being Spider-Man. He has those responsibilities. And, he's like one of the most famous heroes in New York, but he's living in like this shitty, dingy apartment. He doesn't use his powers and being Spider-Man for fame and glory. He just does it because, with great power comes great responsibility. That was one of my favorite things about that film. And I'm looking forward to now, with this film, Brand New Day, or hopefully the start of a second trilogy with Tom Holland, is we are going to see that Peter Parker, the Peter Parker who's swinging through New York with that beautiful suit, by the way. Might be my favorite Spider-Man suit I've had. I can't wait to see it in live action. Being the friend of Spider-Man, saving people, cracking jokes, whatever. But then
cracking clips, being how Spider-Man is, yeah.
But then seeing the flip side of Peter Parker in this rundown apartment,
yeah,
on his own,
and it's exactly how Peter is as well.
That's I'm looking forward to see how that is portrayed in this film. Obviously, I haven't seen the film, just the trailers, but the trailers do a good enough job of it.
Yeah, and something that also stood out to me with it was, after rewatching all this, is seeing how well he blends with other characters in the universe. I think a lot of his greatest interactions are, the ones that he has with Iron Man. Those scenes always excel, for the character that is Peter Parker in the MCU. Seeing him interact with Happy, with May, with, Doctor Strange, makes me really excited to see how he interacts with Bruce Banner and the Hulk.
Punisher.
And the Punisher. Oh, dude, especially the Punisher. I cannot wait to see it. Dude, seeing how he interacted with Matt Murdock in No Way Home, I was like, oh, it was fun. I would like to see that expanded upon in Daredevil. Because Tom Holland has said, I want to be in it. So, yeah, and I'm borderline very excited. I am very excited to see this film tonight.
I'm
and I have such high hopes. And I've heard that the film is amazing. It's already broken $1 billion at the box office. Holy fucking shit.
You could say it's amazing, spectacular, the ultimate Spider-Man movie. That silence was
Bradley, I think we should stop talking.
Thank you guys for tuning in on today's video.
But yeah, overall excited. I don't have anything else to say.
We're just hyped for Spider-Man.
We're excited.
Which is so funny.
Anyways,
how this episode started with us feeling so kind of let down by Supergirl to now end and we've been so hyped for Spider-Man.
Yeah. This has been a roller coaster of emotions. This has been a fun episode.
I loved it. I'm gonna say this now. Out of all the episodes, we've only done like maybe 3 Nerd Corner episodes. That's a big rebound, but we've been doing like this podcast stuff for like well over a year now. Tonight's been my favorite one we've recorded.
This has been so fun. This has been so fun.
This is the best.
I've never gotten so angry about a Marvel project than I have hearing about Wonder Man and Blade. That was the first of many crash outs probably on this pod.
One for the clip channel. One for the
clip channel, baby. Let's go.
Which still needs to happen.
Anyways,
still need to work on that.
I'm working on it. Trust me. Anyways, thank you all very much for tuning into this episode. We hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did, and we hope to see you guys in the next week. This has been the Nerd Corner. I'm Cooper. This is Bradley. We will see you guys later.
Peace out.